New plans are in the works for Lane County's CleanLane trash and recycling facility in Goshen. At the end of 2023, the Lane County Board of Commissioners agreed to develop an integrated materials and energy recovery facility, or IMERF, but that project is now known as CleanLane. CleanLane would remove food waste and recyclables prior to the garbage going to the landfill. Bulk Handling Systems in Eugene won the bid to build the roughly $150 million facility. The company's CEO, Steve Miller, says it's expected to process 80,000 tons of material a year and extend the life of Short Mountain Landfill, the county's only landfill.
There basically just isn't enough landfill space to deal with all the waste created. There was a waste-to-energy plant in Marion County that was shut the end of last year because it had really aged out. The emissions that it was putting out exceeded state levels. The company that owned it didn't want to make the investment. So whether it's today or in 5 years or 10 years, these are issues that have to be resolved. Here in Lane County, this project extends the landfill at Short Mountain by 20 years. And so when you think about infrastructure, that's really the core, one of the core purposes of this facility for the county was to be able to provide that resource over a long period of time.
The county planned to build the facility on county-owned land in Goshen, but Short Mountain Landfill is now a potential location, the county said, due to special permitting for land use being denied. That's after a complaint was filed by the Lane County Garbage and Recycling Association, Sanipack, Weyerhaeuser, and several people who live near the site in Goshen over rate increases for haulers, and residents fight to protect the wetlands from being used for waste processing. Jake Pelroy, the volunteer president of Lane County Garbage and Recycling Association, has been a vocal opponent of the project. He just announced Wednesday his run to unseat District 5 Commissioner Heather Buck in his attempt to continue his fight against the project.
The county has no other options with the board that they have right now, because there's 3 people on the county commission that support this project. So in order to see change with this project, you need a new commissioner in East Lane County. Commissioner Buck voted for CleanLane. She's been a strong supporter of it. The original plan was to put it at Short Mountain, but they decided to move the location to Goshen. In that process, they found out that the location's not suitable, and they've lost $3 to $4 million, in my estimation, on that location. I think part of the issue that I see with CleanLane right now is whether we're going to spend several millions of dollars on this machine, or we're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on this program that's going to continue to raise the cost of living, putting the county in financially unstable situation.
Pelroy started as a trash hauler in Lane County and says residents need more of a voice in county government, particularly now with millions in county dollars at stake. Miller says the local challenge is only slowing down the work.
This whole project is organized as a public-private partnership. The county has responsibility to provide the land and building. We have the responsibility to provide all of the equipment and operate the facility. And we've signed a long-term agreement with the county. I don't know that I would necessarily agree that there are issues with the land, but there are some people who have created an issue which has delayed the project, and that's really caused the county to look at the Short Mountain site as an alternative site. So we're now going through that engineering process at that site, and that's moving along, quite well. In total, the delay will be something, it looks like, about a year's time.
BHS is designing both machines and the building controls automation, what Miller calls the brains behind the operation, with more than 350 motors just in the recycling facility. It will have additional machines in a separate adjacent facility to be used to process organic waste over a 20-day period. With its machines that use infrared lighting and artificial intelligence to sort trash, food waste will be removed from the waste and converted to renewable natural gas for transportation fuel and liquefied CO2 to be sold to a local company, and valuable recyclables will be marketed locally for sale.
When you think about the separation of waste, everything comes in the back of a truck. It's the collection vehicle that goes to each home, collects material, and then we get it as one large grouping of mixed material. We have a series of steps that break that down so that we can segregate every component within the waste stream.
Pelroy praised the county for what he described as its ongoing positive performance in prioritizing environmental sustainability, but said CleanLane is one effort the county should nix for being costly and unnecessary.
Lane County, as everyone knows, is very green. They like to recycle, they like to do things with green waste. This machine won't make that big of a difference. There's other ways to get there and not cost the taxpayers money.
The equipment package alone, Miller says, cost about $80 million. He says the recycling plant machinery is about 30% finished and the anaerobic digestion plant machinery is about 10% done.
And over here on the right, we have a screen that separates by friction, a little bit by sizing. In the operation, this will be set up in the air at a 40-degree angle that's adjustable, and we make those adjustments depending on what the material looks like. We have different techniques. Over on this side is an optical sorting unit. That unit, we look at material in the near infrared range of light. So we put material through at very high speed, literally 10 feet every second. We're putting a light wave on it. After the material leaves the conveyor belt, we then look at it, make a decision as to what it is, and then we use air nozzles to eject the product that we want. And we can tell the difference between something made out of polypropylene from something made out of polyethylene or a fiber or a metal or whatever it might be. And we make those determinations literally in milliseconds. But then when we take that, we want to do quality control on it. In many systems around the world, that's done by people who stand on sort lines for 8 hours a day and handpick through waste. We don't think that's really the right thing, so we use robotics to do it. And the image that determines what the robot will do is using artificial intelligence. So we look at the material as it passes by, and we then make a decision. If it's an item we want to select, we communicate to the robot who then selects that. And all this is done at very high speed.
While Pelroy says he'll also focus on public safety and management of natural resources as a commissioner, his first order of business, if elected, would be having the county rethink going through with the project, and he's got a plan to get that ball rolling.
I would have a public meeting about this because the last public meeting about this was earlier this year, and they discussed a couple of items, not the main project, and there's a lot of topics that are being discussed in private at the Board of County Commissioners because they don't really want to know they really don't want to tell the public what's going on with this project. And I'll just keep on going back to CleanLane. It's $11.2 million that's going to cost everyone every year. We're looking at improving our public safety system, paying for more deputies and district attorneys. We can pay for a lot of those with $11.2 million. It's really about the priorities of the Board of County Commissioners.
Lane County, which produced nearly 10% of the state's waste in 2021, according to the Department of Environmental Quality, initially expected to open the facility in 2026, but delays will push that timeline back to an unknown date.
We just signed an agreement for one of our types of robots to deploy in the scrap steel space. So we just put 4 units into a